All right, everyone, get ready, because today we're taking a deep dive into data scientist interviews.
Sounds exciting.
It's not just about knowing the technical stuff.
Yeah,
It's about showing you can communicate those complex ideas.
absolutely.
Whether you're talking to another data scientist
Yeah.
or someone who thinks an algorithm is like some kind of dance move.
Right, right. You got to make it understandable for everyone.
Exactly. And to help us break it all down, we're using RoleCatcher as our guide.
Oh, nice. I've heard good things.
It's not just a bunch of practice questions, though.
Okay, so what else?
It uses AI to help you really tailor your answers to the specific job.
Oh, that's cool.
It's like having a personal interview coach, but, AI powered.
I like that it's personalized feedback.
Yeah.
And what's also really cool is that RoleCatcher breaks down the data scientist career path.
Oh, you're right.
So, they have different stages from associate to senior data scientist.
Uh-huh.
So you can really prepare for what you'll face at each level.
Perfect. So let's get into some questions, huh?
Yeah, let's do it.
One that I see all the time is, describe your experience with statistical software like R or Python.
Ooh, that's a common one.
It's tempting to just list everything you know,
Oh, for sure.
but is that really the best way to go about it?
Not really. They want to see how you've used those skills, not just that you have them.
Right, like real-world problems.
Exactly. Think about projects where you used R or Python to analyze data, build models, make visualizations.
Yeah.
And this is where RoleCatcher is great. Its AI can look at the job description.
Really?
Yeah, and suggest projects from your past that fit what they're looking for.
So you're tailoring your answer to them,
Exactly. Make a good impression.
like picking the right outfit for a first date, right?
Uh-huh. Yeah.
Let's say you're going for a job at a company that does a lot of customer analytics.
Okay.
What kind of project would you want to highlight?
A good one would be talking about a customer segmentation model.
Okay, using Python.
Yeah, Python's pandas and scikit-learn libraries, something like that.
Right.
Explain how you used it to identify different customer groups.
Based on their behavior,
Maybe.
demographics, maybe.
Yeah, all of that. And then go further and say how that segmentation helped the company maybe personalize marketing or product recommendation.
That's perfect. It's specific, it's relevant, shows you can use Python for a real business need.
Exactly.
And I love that RoleCatcher not only suggests projects,
Uh-huh.
but also tells you how to structure your answer, what to emphasize,
It takes out the guesswork, helps you present yourself really well.
like a scriptwriter for your interview, kind of.
Uh-huh. Yeah.
Speaking of presenting yourself well, another question I see often is, how do you approach data cleaning and pre-processing?
Oh, yeah, that one.
I feel like that's where some people struggle.
It's not the most exciting part, that's for sure.
Right. Not glamorous.
But it's so important.
yeah.
Bad data equals bad insights, and that's bad news for everyone.
Yeah, no matter how good your algorithm is.
Exactly. Imagine you're predicting customer churn,
Right.
but your data's a mess, full of errors. Your predictions won't be reliable.
So how do you convince them that you get it,
It's all about showing you have a process
Okay.
and that, the dangers of messy data.
Yeah.
Talk about things like outlier detection, imputation, data transformation.
And again, RoleCatcher helps here, right?
It does. It gives examples of common challenges.
Based on the industry, maybe.
Exactly, the role you're going for.
So, like for a financial job, RoleCatcher might say to mention techniques for handling missing values.
Right, especially with time series data. That's common in finance.
It's all about context, isn't it?
It is.
It's not enough to just list techniques, though.
No, you got to explain why you chose them, what impact they have.
Right. Did they improve the model, reduce errors? Did you see any hidden patterns?
It's about the whole story of your data cleaning.
And how it made the project a success.
Exactly.
We've talked a lot about technical skills. But there's another side to data science.
You mean communication.
Bingo. Being able to explain things to people who aren't technical, that's huge EE.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
And interviewers know that, which
Yeah.
is why they ask things like, explain the difference between supervised and unsupervised learning.
A classic, but tricky.
You don't want to sound like you're talking down.
No, but you also don't want to lose them in jargon.
Right. So how do you find that balance?
Analogies and real-world examples work really well.
Oh, like what?
Explain supervised learning like teaching a kid about animals.
Okay.
You show them pictures, label them, cat, dog, bird.
Uh-huh.
They learn from that and start seeing the patterns.
Easy to understand.
Exactly. You got to make it relatable.
And RoleCatcher, it encourages that too, right?
Yeah, they have examples for all sorts of technical terms.
Plus, they check for jargon and suggest simpler words.
Super helpful. Like a built-in translator.
Uh-huh. Love it. I think we've uncovered some really great insights today.
We have, and this is just the start with RoleCatcher.
We'll dig into even trickier questions next time.
I can't wait. Welcome back. Let's jump right back into data scientist interviews.
I'm ready for more. We were talking about explaining things clearly.
Yeah.
But what about those questions that really test your deep knowledge?
Ah, you mean like the bias variance trade-off?
That's the one. It sounds intimidating.
It can be, but with a little prep, you can nail it.
Okay, good to know.
So think of it this way. Bias is how far off your model's predictions are, on average, from the real values.
So a biased model is consistently wrong.
Pretty much. It might oversimplify things.
Like trying to hit a bullseye and always landing way off to the side.
Exactly. Now, variance is different. It's how much your predictions would change if you train the model on different data.
So a high variance model, it's really sensitive to the data it's trained on.
Yes, it might do great on that data, but then fail on new data.
Like your darts are all over the place, sometimes hitting the bullseye, sometimes not even close.
You got it. And the trade-off is you can't always have both low bias and low variance.
Okay, so a simple model, like a linear regression,
Right.
it might have high bias because it can't handle complex stuff.
But it'll have low variance because it's not easily swayed by different data,
But then a more complex model,
like a deep neural network.
yeah, that might have lower bias.
But higher variance, it might overfit to the training data.
So it doesn't do well on new data.
Exactly.
Mhm.
Being able to explain that shows you understand how to choose the right model.
That makes sense. It's not just one size fits all.
And you know what? RoleCatcher actually has some great visuals for this.
Really. That would be helpful.
It makes it way easier to understand and remember.
It's one thing to read about it, another to actually see it.
Right. RoleCatcher is also big on connecting these concepts to real-world examples.
Do they have examples for different industries?
They do, like in finance, where you need to be able to explain your predictions. A simpler model, even with a bit higher bias, might be better.
Because you can explain the reasoning.
Exactly. But in image recognition, accuracy is key.
So you might go for a complex model, even if it has higher variance.
Right, even if it's a bit of a black box.
It all depends on what's important in that situation.
It does.
Okay, let's try another question. Describe a time you faced a challenging data science problem and how you tackled it.
That's a classic.
It's hard to pick the right example and then structure your answer well.
I agree, and that's where RoleCatcher's AI really shines.
How so?
It can analyze the job description and suggest projects from your past that fit what they're looking for.
Like it's going through your resume and picking out the best stuff.
Yeah, but it's more than that.
What else does it do?
It guides you on how to structure your answer using the STAR method.
Situation, task, action, result, right?
You know it. It helps you tell a story that shows off your problem-solving skills.
Okay, can we walk through an example?
Sure, let's say you're applying to a company that personalizes online recommendations.
Okay, I've seen those, like product suggestions and stuff.
Right, so you could talk about a time when you had to improve the accuracy of their recommendation engine.
Okay, so that's the situation you had a specific challenge.
Right. Now, the task could be to increase the click-through rate on those recommendations by, say, 5%.
A clear goal.
Exactly. Then the action is where you shine. You describe what you did.
Like experimenting with algorithms, fine-tuning things.
Yep. Or incorporating new data. Maybe you even invented a new technique that boosted performance.
And finally, the result. Show the impact.
You could say, by doing all this, I increased the click-through rate by 8%, beating the target.
That proves you can get results.
And the STAR method keeps you focused. No rambling.
Helps you highlight your achievements really clearly.
And RoleCatcher has tons of examples for different data science challenges.
So it's not just about having a good story, it's about telling it the right way.
You got it.
We've talked about questions that test your technical skills and problem solving.
Mm-hmm.
But what about questions about the data scientist career path in general?
Those are important too. They want to see that you've thought about your future.
And that you understand the different roles and responsibilities.
Exactly. This is where RoleCatcher's career stage breakdowns are great.
Right. They show the different levels, from associate to senior data scientist.
And they don't just list job titles.
What else do they do?
They describe the typical responsibilities, skills, and experience for each stage.
So like an associate might be more focused on data cleaning and basic models.
and helping out the more senior people.
while a senior data scientist might be leading a team.
Developing strategy, presenting findings to stakeholders, that kind of thing.
It's a big difference in responsibility and expertise.
It is, and knowing those differences is key for interviews.
The questions will be different depending on the level you're applying for.
Right, an associate might be asked about specific tools.
And a senior might be asked about managing projects, mentoring, communicating with non-technical people.
It's all about tailoring your answers to what they're looking for.
Does RoleCatcher also talk about how these roles might differ across industries?
Oh, yeah, definitely.
Like, how would a data scientist's work be different in healthcare versus tech?
Good example, in healthcare, you might focus on analyzing patient data.
To improve diagnoses, personalized treatments, things like that.
Exactly, working with medical records, clinical trials, maybe even genomic information.
Whereas in tech, it might be more about recommendation engines.
Fraud detection, analyzing user behavior, yeah.
And the skills they look for will be different too.
For sure, a healthcare data scientist needs to understand medical stuff, ethics.
And a tech data scientist might need experience with A/B testing, personalization algorithms, cloud computing.
It's about matching your skills and interests to the industry.
And RoleCatcher helps you make those connections.
It's like having a career counselor who knows all about data science.
Before we wrap up this part, let's go back to RoleCatcher's AI.
For tailoring your answers and practicing.
Yeah, how does that work?
So one of the coolest things is its feedback system. You record yourself answering questions,
Oh, wow.
and the AI analyzes it, gives you feedback on how clear you are, how concise, if you're using too much jargon.
So it's like a mock interview.
Exactly. And the feedback is super specific.
Like what?
It might say, to rephrase something, use stronger words, give more examples.
That's awesome. It helps you pinpoint what to improve.
And you can customize the feedback based on the job you're applying for.
So if they want someone with strong communication skills, it'll focus on that.
It's like having a coach who knows exactly what that role needs.
I love that. We've covered so much, but there's one more crucial thing about data scientist interviews.
You mean those behavioral questions?
Yes, the ones about your personality, work style, how you handle tough situations.
We'll tackle those in the final part of our deep dive.
And we're back, ready to wrap up our deep dive into data scientist interviews.
We've talked tech, we've talked problem solving.
Now it's time for the curveball, those behavioral questions.
The ones that really try to figure out who you are, how you'd fit in the team.
Yeah, they can throw you off if you're not ready.
Especially when you've been focusing on the technical stuff.
So what do we do?
Well, RoleCatcher's got your back. They have a whole section on these questions.
Okay, good.
They give you insights how to craft good answers.
This is where their knowledge of the data scientist career is so helpful.
Right. It's not just about technical skills.
It's about those soft skills too. Communication, teamwork, all that.
Adaptability. Being
Okay.
able to work in a fast-paced environment, explaining things to different people.
So what are some examples?
One is, tell me about a time you had to deal with a difficult teammate.
Ooh, that's a tough one.
It's about showing you can handle conflict, interpersonal challenges.
Not bad-mouthing your old coworker.
No, not at all. It's about being mature, professional.
Focus on what you did to make things better.
Exactly. Did you try to see their side of things, communicate clearly? Find ways to collaborate anyway.
Show that you can turn conflict into something positive.
Another one is, tell me about a time you failed.
That one makes me nervous just thinking about it.
It's a chance to show you learn from your mistakes, that you're resilient.
Not that you never mess up.
Nobody's perfect. What matters is how you bounce back.
RoleCatcher says to use the STAR method here too.
Yeah, situation, task, action, result, but this time focus on what you learned.
Like maybe a model you built didn't work out.
You could talk about what you thought went wrong, how you investigated.
And what you figured out was the real problem.
Maybe you missed a variable, made a wrong assumption. The point is to highlight the lesson.
And how it made you a better data scientist.
It shows you're not afraid to make mistakes, as long as you grow from them.
One more question that comes up a lot is, why are you interested in this role?
This is where your research comes in handy.
You got to go beyond just saying, I love data.
It's about connecting your skills and interests to what the company does, their mission, their needs.
RoleCatcher's AI can help with this too, right?
Absolutely. It looks at the job description, the company website, finds key themes.
So if they're all about innovation, using data to build new products, you'd talk about that.
Exactly. Show them you've done your homework and you're genuinely excited about their work.
And these behavioral questions, they're not just about giving the right answer.
It's about showing your personality, your values, if you'd be a good fit.
Letting your true self shine through.
So, to wrap things up, we've explored a lot today. But remember, this is just the start.
Data science is always changing, and so is the job market.
Stay curious, keep learning, keep getting better.
And RoleCatcher can be your partner in all of that.
It's not just for interview prep, it's for your whole career.
From your resume to negotiating your salary and beyond.
Like having a career coach right there with you.
So dive into RoleCatcher, check it out, and unleash your data scientist potential.
The world needs your insights, your ideas, your solutions.
Go out there and make a difference.